Welcome to another deep dive. Today, we're going to explore the fascinating life of Sir Richard Branson,
Oh, Richard Branson.
specifically his entrepreneurial journey and all those crazy lessons he's learned along the way.
Yeah.
And you know what's really cool about this one is we're getting our insights straight from the source.
Yeah.
A YouTube interview Branson did with the Diary of a CEO.
It really is like having a front row seat to his story. He talks about everything from his crazy childhood
Yeah.
to his wild space venture. And honestly, some of the stuff he reveals is truly mind-blowing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Like, can you believe?
Oh, and by the way, for folks who don't know, the Diary of a CEO is this really great YouTube channel.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Really popular business leaders and that sort of thing.
Yeah, really insightful.
So anyway, yeah, back to Branson.
Okay.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Can you believe he credits his dyslexia as a superpower?
I know, right?
How did that shape his thinking and lead him to success?
It's wild.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Let's rewind to his early years. The interview paints such a vivid picture of his upbringing and the impact his parents had on him.
His mother, Eve, sounds like she was a force of nature.
Yeah.
Branson talks about her entrepreneurial spirit, how she was constantly coming up with ideas and trying to make life better.
Oh, yeah?
She even made and sold table mats.
No way!
Yeah, working from a phone booth in London.
From a phone booth.
Talk about resourcefulness.
That's amazing.
I know.
Wow. So she definitely instilled that entrepreneurial spirit in him.
Yeah, for sure.
But she also had, strong morals and wasn't afraid to enforce them.
Oh, absolutely.
Remember that story Branson tells about refusing to sit next to a guest in church?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
His mother insisted his father spanked him for being rude.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's intense.
That story really highlights Eve's emphasis on courtesy and caring for others.
Yeah,
These values were clearly instilled in Branson from a young age.
right from the get-go.
But, it's a stark contrast to the approach of his father, Ted.
Really?
He was a lawyer, but would have much rather been an archaeologist.
Interesting.
Yeah, it sounds like he prioritized happiness over achievement
Okay.
and wanted his children to find contentment above all else.
So it's almost like Branson got the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
His mother's ambition and drive combined with his father's more laid-back approach to life.
Yeah, like a really nice balance.
Yeah.
And speaking of challenging conventions, can you believe Branson left school at 15?
15.
He talks very openly about struggling in school,
Yeah.
mainly due to his undiagnosed dyslexia at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, he felt like he couldn't grasp abstract concepts
I see.
and just rebelled against traditional education.
It's amazing how he sees leaving school as a kind of liberation,
It is.
a chance to learn from real-world experiences rather than textbooks.
Yeah.
He even frames it as a key driver of his success.
He does. He says this unconventional path allowed him to develop his strengths,
Yeah.
people skills, delegation, and focus on what truly interested him. And wouldn't you know, that first taste of entrepreneurship came when he started a student magazine
Oh, wow.
at just 16.
So young.
I know.
That magazine really was his training ground.
It was.
It taught him how to interview people, address societal issues,
Yeah.
and find solutions to real-world problems, a completely different kind of education than what he would have gotten in a classroom.
Totally. Totally.
You can really see that hunger for knowledge and new experiences shining through.
And to think
Right.
he launched Virgin from that very magazine.
It's incredible.
It's incredible how something that started as a way to address the problems he saw
Yeah.
evolved into this global empire.
Speaking of challenging conventions, did you catch the part where he admits he didn't understand the difference between gross and net profit until he was 50?
What?
This is a self-made entrepreneur who built a business empire.
I know. It makes you wonder, how did he manage that?
Right.
Well, it turns out he's incredibly self-aware.
Okay.
He knows his strengths lie in people and vision. So he surrounds himself with experts in areas where he's not as strong, like finance.
That makes sense.
He even tells this hilarious story about a director having to explain the concept of gross and net profit using a fishing net analogy.
A fishing net.
Can you imagine?
I love that. The
Yeah.
fish in the net represents profit. The rest of the ocean is the gross turnover.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's a classic Branson anecdote, and you know what it really underscores?
What's that?
You don't have to be an expert in every aspect of business to be successful.
Right.
Recognizing your weaknesses and delegating those tasks to people who excel in them is a key element of effective leadership.
Totally.
And Branson takes it a step further.
Yeah.
He actually prioritizes instinct and vision over financial advice.
Wow.
He talks about trusting your gut even when the numbers tell a different story.
Now, that's a bold statement.
It is.
And it definitely goes against a lot of conventional business wisdom.
For sure, but when you look at Branson's track record,
Yeah.
you have to admit, it's hard to argue with his approach. Yeah, you do.
And this really ties back to what we were saying earlier about his dyslexia.
Yeah.
It seems like that forced him to think outside the box from an early age.
Yeah, his dyslexia forced him to delegate and build strong teams,
Exactly.
which is a key takeaway for any entrepreneur, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Recognizing your limitations can actually be your biggest strength.
I love that.
Yeah. And another area where he throws conventional wisdom out the window is diversification.
Oh, interesting.
You always hear about how important it is to focus on one thing.
Right.
But Branson basically says forget that.
He does. What does he say?
He actually credits diversification as being key to Virgin's survival,
Huh.
especially during tough times like the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
He uses the example of the music industry being disrupted by the iPod.
Right.
If Virgin had solely relied on record sales,
Yeah.
they would have been in deep trouble.
Makes sense.
But they weren't because they had ventures in other areas.
Right.
He argues that having multiple income streams gives you a safety net
Yeah.
and allows you to adapt to changing markets.
That's smart.
It's like not putting all your eggs in one basket
Yeah.
and being open to exploring diverse opportunities.
Speaking of putting all your eggs in one basket, let's talk about Virgin Atlantic.
Yeah.
Branson's decision to enter the notoriously challenging airline industry is a classic David versus Goliath story.
It really is. He was fed up with how existing airlines were treating passengers
Yeah.
and was convinced he could do better.
Good for him.
So what does he do?
What?
He secures a second-hand Boeing 747.
A whole 747.
I know.
It's amazing.
But that's not all. He negotiates a deal where he can return the plane if the venture fails.
Whoa, talk about mitigating risk.
That's classic Branson.
It is.
He's willing to take big risks,
Yeah,
but always with a plan to minimize the downside.
that's smart.
It's a strategy we can all learn from, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. But even with his savvy planning, it wasn't all smooth sailing.
Oh, no.
Virgin Atlantic faced fierce competition from British Airways.
Who, as the interview reveals, even launched a dirty tricks campaign against them.
The infamous Dirty Tricks campaign. British Airways was actually found guilty in court of trying to sabotage Virgin Atlantic.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it ended up being a landmark legal victory for Branson
Good.
and resulted in a huge payout.
Wow, so this perfectly illustrates Branson's resilience.
It does.
He doesn't just take a punch. He turns adversity into a brand-building opportunity.
That's amazing.
The whole ordeal positioned Virgin Atlantic as the scrappy underdog fighting for the customer and solidify their brand image.
It's a brilliant example of handling a crisis with integrity and maybe even a touch of humor
I love that.
to win over public opinion.
Yeah.
It's a PR triumph, but that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Really?
We haven't even gotten into his obsession with customer experience, those wild adventures, or his decision to sell Virgin Records,
Oh, right.
a decision he describes as like selling a group of children.
Wow.
We'll dive into all that and more in just a minute.
Okay, I can't wait.
We were just talking about Branson's decision to sell Virgin Records, a decision he compared to selling a group of children.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been incredibly tough.
It really highlights the emotional toll that comes with making difficult business choices.
Yeah.
As entrepreneurs, we pour our hearts and souls into our companies, and letting go, even when necessary, can be incredibly challenging.
Yeah, I bet.
But in Branson's case, selling Virgin Records was a strategic move
Right.
to secure the future of Virgin Atlantic amidst that fierce battle with British Airways.
And that battle really brings to light Branson's incredible resilience.
It does.
He doesn't back down from a challenge.
Nope.
He finds a way to turn adversity into an opportunity.
He does. It's inspiring, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's not forget his relentless focus on the customer experience.
Oh, right.
Branson is constantly seeking ways to innovate and improve every aspect of the customer journey,
Yeah.
even when those innovations seem a bit out there at first.
Like those seatback videos we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Imagine being told, no, people don't want to watch movies on a plane.
Crazy.
But Branson trusted his gut, and now seatback entertainment is standard across the industry.
I know. It's amazing what a little vision can do.
It is.
It's a great example of how sometimes you have to go against conventional wisdom
Yeah.
and follow your instincts, even when the so-called experts disagree.
So it's not just about blindly following your gut.
No, it's about being discerning,
Okay.
weighing the evidence, considering different perspectives,
Yeah.
and ultimately making decisions that align with your vision, even when they're unconventional.
Right. And then there were the sleeper seats in business class.
Oh yeah, those are game changers.
Another Branson innovation that's now an industry standard.
It's true. He's always thinking, how can we make this experience more enjoyable, more memorable?
He's not content with just getting you from point A to point B.
No,
He wants to make the journey itself something special.
absolutely. And he doesn't just come up with these ideas in a vacuum.
Oh, so where does he get them?
He stresses the importance of listening to both staff and customers,
Oh, okay.
seeing them as invaluable sources of ideas and feedback.
Interesting.
He's constantly seeking their input on how to make things better.
That's such a crucial point for any business owner, isn't it?
It really is.
It's a reminder that success often lies in those small details,
Yeah.
exceeding expectations and fostering a culture where everyone feels heard and valued.
Exactly.
But let's shift gears a bit and talk about those wild adventures Branson is known for.
Oh, right.
Crossing the Atlantic by boat, hot air ballooning across the Pacific.
Yeah.
These weren't just publicity stunts.
No, they weren't.
They were personal challenges that pushed him to his limits
I can imagine.
and, in a way, shaped the Virgin brand.
Those adventures, with all their inherent risks, became intertwined with the brand itself.
They did.
It was like personal branding before social media even existed.
Yeah, that's true.
Branson's actions spoke louder than words, conveying fearlessness and a willingness to push boundaries.
And remember, his first attempt to cross the Atlantic in a boat actually sank.
Oh, wow.
But even those failures became part of the Virgin story,
That's interesting.
adding to that image of daring and adventure.
So it's a powerful message.
It is.
And it contrasted sharply with those more traditional buttoned-up competitors.
It's almost like he was saying, we're not afraid to take risks, to have fun, to do things differently.
I like that.
And that message resonated with consumers.
It did.
It made Virgin stand out from the crowd
Yeah,
and created a brand identity that felt aspirational and exciting.
that makes sense.
But even Branson has to make tough choices.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And one of the most emotionally charged was his decision to sell Virgin Records.
A company he built from the ground up.
He describes it as selling a group of children,
Wow.
which really speaks volumes about the emotional toll of that decision.
He does.
But it was a necessary move to combat British Airways and secure the future of Virgin Atlantic.
So sometimes even the most successful entrepreneurs have to make difficult choices
They do.
to sacrifice something dear to them for the greater good of the company.
Speaking of tough choices and emotional tolls, let's talk about Virgin Galactic.
Oh, yeah. Space jewels.
Branson's lifelong dream of space travel led to the founding of this ambitious venture.
I can't believe it actually happened.
I know, but it's been a journey marked by both triumph and tragedy.
The interview doesn't shy away from the inherent risks of space exploration.
No, it doesn't.
Branson acknowledges the tragic loss of a test pilot during development.
Yeah, a moment that clearly had a profound impact on him.
It makes you think, how far are we willing to go to achieve our dreams?
Right.
What level of risk is acceptable?
These are questions with no easy answers.
They aren't.
But they're worth pondering as we consider the broader implications of innovation and progress.
Absolutely. And Branson's willingness to openly discuss the challenges and trade-offs involved in pursuing such ambitious goals is both refreshing and thought-provoking.
It is.
He doesn't try to sugarcoat the risks,
No.
but he also emphasizes the importance of continuing the mission. You're learning from setbacks and proceeding with a clear understanding of what's at stake.
And his story doesn't end with space travel.
Oh, really?
The interview takes a very personal turn
Okay.
as he reflects on what he calls his most vulnerable moment,
What's that?
the COVID-19 pandemic.
Oh, wow, yeah.
This was a time of immense uncertainty for everyone,
It was.
but for Branson, it meant facing a potential business collapse
Oh, no.
and intense public scrutiny.
That's a lot.
He admits to experiencing a brief period of depression during that time.
I can't imagine.
It's interesting how he frames this experience.
Yeah, how so?
He says it gave him a newfound empathy for others struggling with depression,
That's good.
something he hadn't fully grasped before.
I see.
And even in this moment of vulnerability,
Yeah.
he finds strength in his upbringing, his family,
Yeah.
and his unwavering belief in the resilience of the human spirit.
I love that.
He talks about the importance of not giving up,
Oh, that's good.
of facing challenges head on, and finding support in those around you.
Absolutely.
It's a message of hope that resonates deeply, especially considering the global impact of the pandemic.
For sure.
And in the end, his reflections on what makes a life worth living are both profound and inspiring.
What does he say?
He talks about family, love, and leaving a positive impact on the world.
Oh, wow.
It's a good reminder that success isn't just about wealth or
I know.
achievements. It's about the connections we make, the difference we make,
Right.
and the legacy we leave behind.
Yeah.
And those are themes that run through Branson's entire story,
Did you?
from his early days as a student activist to his ventures as a global entrepreneur.
So Branson's journey is a tapestry woven with ambition,
Yeah,
risk-taking,
it is.
and a deep-seated belief in the power of human ingenuity to make the world a better place.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
But even though he's achieved incredible things,
I know, right?
he doesn't seem to be slowing down anytime soon.
He doesn't.
That insatiable curiosity and drive to explore new frontiers is still burning bright.
He's a true force of nature.
He is.
And his story is an invitation to all of us to embrace our own unique paths,
Yeah.
to challenge conventions, and to never stop dreaming big.
So what does this all mean?
Yeah.
What can we, as listeners, take away from this whirlwind tour of Branson's life and career?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Mm.
It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of his adventures and business deals,
Yeah,
but we need to distill those key takeaways.
I agree.
What can we learn from Branson's unconventional path
Right.
that we can apply to our own lives, our own goals, our own challenges?
Well, one thing that jumps out at me is the importance of embracing your strengths.
Yeah, Branson readily admits he's not a numbers person,
He doesn't.
and that's okay.
It is.
He found what he excels at: people, vision, big picture thinking,
Yeah.
and he built a team of experts to handle the rest.
Exactly. It's about understanding your unique skill set and leveraging it to its fullest potential.
And it's about recognizing that your weaknesses don't have to hold you back.
They don't.
In fact, they can be opportunities to collaborate with others who complement your strengths.
Exactly.
Another takeaway is that sometimes you have to trust your gut.
Oh, yeah.
Branson repeatedly talks about going against conventional wisdom,
Right.
following his instincts even when the experts advise against it.
But it's not just about blindly following your feelings, right?
Right.
It's about being discerning,
Yeah,
weighing the evidence, considering different perspectives,
I see.
and ultimately making decisions that align with your vision, even when they're unconventional.
And that ties in with his emphasis on constant learning and adaptation.
Yeah.
From his early days running a student magazine to launching Virgin Galactic.
That's a big jump.
He's always seeking new challenges, exploring new frontiers.
Yes.
It's like he has this insatiable curiosity that drives him forward.
And that's something we can all learn from,
It is.
no matter what stage of life we're in.
Right.
It's about embracing challenges, stepping outside our comfort zones,
Yeah.
and constantly seeking ways to grow and evolve.
It's inspiring, really.
It is.
Branson's story reminds us that it's okay to be different,
It is.
to challenge the norm, and to never stop dreaming big.
But it also raises some important questions.
Oh, like what?
Is there a downside to this relentless ambition?
Interesting.
Can we push boundaries without crossing ethical lines?
That's a good question.
How do we balance personal fulfillment with societal impact?
Yeah.
These are complex issues with no easy answers.
Those are exactly the kind of questions we hope this deep dive has sparked in your mind.
I hope so.
Because ultimately, Branson's story is more than just a tale of entrepreneurial success.
It's a lot more.
It's a reminder that our lives are a journey of constant learning, adaptation, and growth.
Right.
And that we all have the potential to make a positive impact on the world
We do.
in our own unique way.
So as you go about your day, consider what resonated with you, what challenged your assumptions,
Yeah.
and what sparked your curiosity.
Use Branson's story as a catalyst for reflection, growth,
For sure.
and perhaps even a bit of audacious dreaming.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the extraordinary life of Richard Branson.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey and come away with some valuable insights.
We do.
Until next time,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. You know, it's amazing to think that someone who didn't know the difference between gross and net profit until he was 50
I know, it's wild.
could build such a massive, diverse business empire.
That's the beauty of Branson's approach.
Yeah.
He's not afraid to admit his weaknesses and surround himself with people who excel in those areas.
Right. So that's a lesson we can all apply.
We can, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Recognizing our limitations and building a strong team
Yeah,
is essential for success in any field.
for sure.
But beyond that, Branson's journey is also about pushing boundaries
Yeah,
and challenging the status quo.
absolutely.
He's always looking for ways to do things differently, to make things better,
Yeah.
even if it means taking risks and defying conventional wisdom.
Exactly.
Think about Virgin Atlantic.
Oh, yeah.
He saw an opportunity to improve the airline industry
He did.
and wasn't afraid to take on the giants like British Airways
He wasn't.
and that dirty tricks campaign they launched against him.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible how he managed to turn that into a PR win.
It really is. It speaks volumes about his resilience and his ability to navigate adversity.
Yeah, he didn't let it get him down.
No, he didn't.
He used it as fuel to propel Virgin Atlantic forward.
Exactly. So that brings us back to his unconventional path.
Right.
Leaving school at 15,
Yeah,
embracing his dyslexia as a superpower,
I love that.
building a business based on instinct and vision. It's a fascinating story.
It is.
But what can we actually learn from it?
Well, I think one of the key takeaways is the importance of trusting your gut.
Yeah.
Branson repeatedly talks about going against the grain, following his intuition, even when the experts disagree.
But it's not just about blindly following your feelings, right?
Right.
It's about being discerning, weighing the evidence, considering different perspectives,
Yeah.
and ultimately making decisions that align with your vision, even if they're unconventional.
And that ties in with his emphasis on constant learning and adaptation.
For sure.
From his early days running a student magazine to launching Virgin Galactic.
Yeah, what a journey.
He's always seeking new challenges, exploring new frontiers.
It's like he has this insatiable curiosity
He does.
that drives him forward.
And that's something we can all learn from.
It is, no matter what stage of life we're in.
Yeah,
It's about embracing challenges, stepping outside of our comfort zones,
I like that.
and constantly seeking ways to grow and evolve.
It's inspiring, really.
It is.
Branson's story reminds us that it's okay to be different, to challenge the norm,
Yeah.
and to never stop dreaming big.
But, it also raises some important questions.
Yeah, what are those?
Like, is there a downside to this relentless ambition?
Yeah, good question.
Can we push boundaries without crossing ethical lines?
That's an important one.
How do we balance personal fulfillment with societal impact?
Right, so these are complex issues.
They are.
With no easy answers.
No easy answers, and those are exactly the kind of questions we hope this deep dive has sparked in your mind.
Yeah, because ultimately, Branson's story is more than just a tale of entrepreneurial success.
It's a reminder that our lives are a journey of constant learning, adaptation, and growth.
And that we all have the potential to make a positive impact on the world in our own unique way.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the extraordinary life of Richard Branson.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey and come away with some valuable insights.
Until next time.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible.